going to enhance our user list component with add user functionality. So welcome back to CodeCrafter Campus. We'll focus on adding a form to create a new user to our user list component. And at the same time, we are going to update the styling for the user list component. Okay, let me do a quick preview of what exactly we are going to do. First, we are going to add a form to collect the new user information. Then we will integrate the post API with whatever the user information we captured. We are going to create a new user, and we'll have the dynamic updates also demonstrated. When you click on add user, your existing user list will update the UI immediately. Okay, so then to add the form to the user list, first we will create a form to have the email, username, phone and password. Then on change events, we are going to update the state with the corresponding username, email, and on submission we are going to create a user object, and then we are going to integrate our post API to create a user. Okay, in order to manage the state, yes, whenever we are going to create a new state for capturing the new user information, and we'll define some input handlers to process update the state for the newly added user information. Then we'll have the API integrated to post the user information, and at the same time we'll have our user list updated dynamically. Let's switch back to our Visual Studio Code for live demo. Here we are in our user list component. So first we are going to add a form to capture the user information. So for that we are going to create a new state variable for holding the user information. Let's start. So I'm going to create constant, then we'll have new user and set new user. So this use state will have three fields. One is, this will be an object with username, email, phone number and password. So let's define this object with those fields. Then we are going to have it. Yeah, this is the first step. Then our second step is we are going to enhance our JSX to include the user information. So what we do, soon after this table, we are going to create a new, like we'll have a quick header tag added to say that add a new user. Then we are going to create a form. So it is always a good practice to keep the form. So I'm going to keep the form input field for creating the user information. Let me see that how we are going to create. We'll have input type text, then name equal to, we'll call it as username, and then we'll call placeholder what exactly we want to have the placeholder as username. And again, value what we are going to do is we are going to bind it to the username field. So we are going to have, what is the state we created? Yeah, we're going to say it as new user dot username, new user dot username, and we'll have on change. We are going to define one event handlers for handle the change, and we'll make this as a required field. Let me close this input tag. Okay, let's do the same thing for the email field, phone field and password field. Okay, so in the interest of time, what exactly I'm going to do, I'm going to copy paste them. So here it is exactly same. We have input type email, name email, placeholder email, and again value we are saying new user dot email, and handle change. We'll have the same event for the multiple events. At the same time, let's go for the telephone number input. So here also we are going to have the input type tel and phone number, and again we'll have same new user dot phone and handle change. And the last field is our password field. Okay, so we have done defining the state and defining the multiple input controls and binding their value to the state field, and we have defined a common on change event for all these controls. Now let's define how we are going to have our handle change event. Okay, so here before our axios or after anywhere we can go and define our constant handle change. We can define our event. So we may be in need of the event object, so we're going to capture it. And yeah, so in this definition, first what we are going to do, we are going to extract the name and email fields from the target. Okay, so what is the name? For the name control, what exactly, if you say name, so whatever the name we have given, right, that is going to come corresponding to the name field, and whatever the value we have entered is going to come to the value field. So one important note here, we have defined the state with username, email and password, right? Even names of those controls also you need to give accordingly. The reason on the handle change event, what exactly we are doing, we are extracting the name and sorry, it's not email, it should be value. We are extracting the name and value fields. For if it is a username, username value, email, email value, phone, phone value, password, password value. After that, what we are doing, we are going to set update our new user. Okay, and we are going to use the object destructure. We are going to take the existing new user object, and from the existing new user object we are going to update the name field. Like for example, whatever it is, if the user has, if the event has been filed for the email, it will have the email. If the event has been filed for the password, it would have the password field. Okay, so this is what we have done on this event. Okay, now yes, we have closed our handle change method, so we are good. So at least we have defined our handle change event. Now what we are going to do, we are going to on submit, like we want to create the new user information on the submit event. So for that, what we are going to do, to form method, we are going to create, we are going to define a on submit method. Okay, so what exactly we are going to do here, whenever the form submitted on submit, what exactly we want to do, handle add user. So you can follow your own naming convention. Okay, so I'm going to define some class called as so I'm going to define the classes later. Perfect. So now I'll say form handle submit user, and I'm going to have a button. So why is this button is important? We are going to use this button to submit the form. So I have defined button type submit, and we are going to say add user. So I'm going to name this control as add user. Now, so when I have defined my button of type as add user, I have the form defined. This is all perfect. So now we are going to define what is the submit method we have given on handle and user. So what exactly we need to do on handle user? We need to collect the user information and we need to post it to the backend. So first what we'll do, we are going to collect the user information. So here I'll have constant. So we can specify it as a anonymous a normal function and as an arrow function. Anything should be fine. Okay, whenever we are trying to define, we can define it as an anonymous function or as a normal function also. So what exactly I want to do here in my constant handle add user. So again, we are going to capture the event information. Then we are going to define the function body. Within the function body, we'll say e dot prevent default. So this is like, I don't want this event to happen because otherwise it will submit the form. So what we want to do is we want to take care of the method. So here, okay, now it should be arrow function. Yeah. So e dot prevent default. Then what exactly we are going to do? So we are going to uh, okay, so whenever we have got the user object. If you go and see this, we'd have console.log, we'd have got the new user information here. Okay, new user information would have got it as a part of submission. So now what we want to do, whenever we create a new user, we are going to capture his name, email, phone number, and password. But we need ID also. See, whenever we are trying to display, no, we need to create an ID. So for that, what we are going to do, from the existing users, we'll see how many existing users are there. We'll try to get the maximum value field of the ID and maximum field of the ID, and we'll increment by 1. So that is very simple. What I'm going to do here is, here, sorry, not this. So I'm going to create a simple formula here, that is from users dot length, if it is greater than 0, within the user object, we are trying to find the maximum ID field that is was there. So for example, you have 1, 2, 3. If 3 users are there, it is going to return 3 as the maximum number. So we are saying 3 plus 1. If the 4 users are there, it will give 4 plus 1. Because ID, we are trying to get the maximum ID, we are incrementing by 1. Otherwise, if he is the first user, then we are going to keep it as 1 over there. So what we are going to do is, now we are going to create a new user object, that is nothing but user to add, and we are going to keep this as new user, and in this new user we are going to add the ID field also, like we are going to have the ID as new ID, whatever the ID that has been captured here, right? We are going to add the new ID field. So now with this we have our user object ready. So now what we are going to do, we need to do update this user back to the backend. So what we are going to do, we have the Axios as a method called as post. Now where exactly we are going to do, we are going to post this information to the our API. So API slash user. So now I'm going to this is our backend URL. So this is our post method. If you see here, yeah, this is our post method. In the body section, if you pass, it is going to push the user to the post method. If you see, you have ID 1, 2, 3. When you try to push a new user, even from the front end itself, we are trying to capture the maximum ID, incrementing by 1, and we are trying to push the user here. Okay, now let's get back to our user list. So here we have, now one thing is we need to pass the payload. Payload, we are always going to pass the payload in the as a second parameter. So here we are going to pass the payload in the second parameter, and yeah, so then we can use the async await syntax, or otherwise then syntax also we can use. So what exactly I'm going to do, so whenever I get the response, I may just go and say whenever I get the response, I can go and update even my user response also. Means I already have the existing user information, right? What I can do is, whenever I get the set users, yeah, I'll try to use the set users. So what is set users here? Let's go back. Say set users is nothing but the existing array where we are trying to display this user information. So in case whenever I try to post the information, if my response is successful, what exactly I'm going to do, I'm going to the existing users object, user state, that is nothing but a state, I'm going to pass this user also. Okay, so then we are updating this state so that it is going to reflect the new value. At the same way, we are going to have set new user as, like what we are going to do is, we are going to reset the fields that has been entered in the things, because so that we can user can go and add the extra fields also. Okay, so this is the fields I'm trying to reset. Now if there is any error, we need to catch that error response also. Okay, so here, yeah, if there is any error, so we are going to specify there was an error in adding the user. Okay, perfect. So this is what we have. So let's see, we have the, we are trying to have axios.post, we have this open brace, close brace, catch, everything is fine. So let's see what is the error. It says user to add is not defined. Okay, so here the, okay, object name we have defined here is little different. Yeah, user to add. So now it should be good. We should get rid of this error. Everything should look good. Yeah, perfect. So what we have done, let me quickly recap. So we have created multiple input fields. We have form on submit. On individual change events, we have went and updated the fields whatever we want. And on submit, we are trying to capture the user information and adding the ID fields to that user information. Same thing we are posting in the backend also. Okay, let's see our output now. Okay, here is our user field. So we have the users, with whatever is there in the backend. We have an option to add the user also. We can update the styles little later. So now I'm going to create the new user. We'll have Kumar and kumar@jetanix.com. So we'll have 80882929 as the password. Yeah, we are going to enter. So I'm going to show you some debugging capabilities here. I go to the sources, search for your user list component. Okay, and again keep a breakpoint in when you try to add the users, and at the same time I'll try to put the breakpoint for you quickly. So let's go and try to, yeah, so now I, if you want to handle the change, whenever we change the field we'll be able to come to know. So I'll try to intentionally change the field of email. I'll say Kumar K. Now if you see here, if you go and look at our e object, it is going to show you what is the e. When I say e dot target, so it is e dot target is pointing to the username field, and when you say e dot target dot name, it is going to show the name of the field, and if you say e dot target dot value, we are going to show the Kumar K. So if you see here, what exactly we are trying to do, we are trying to extract the username, like name is username and value is Kumar K. And what exactly we are doing within this user object, we are updating the property of the username with the whatever the value we have given. Now let's go and try to submit this form. When you submit here, now it is going to come here. So now what is a new user? We have the all the user information entered here. Then we are going to get the new ID. If you see, already 3 users are there, we added one ID, it is become 4. So now we are going to create a user to add. If you see, this is the, we added the ID field. Now we are going to do the post. So here let's observe our network traffic. So all the network requests are going to trap here. So I'm going to make a post request. You should have made a request to the post. Yeah, if you see here, it has made a request to the post, and if you see in the payload, this is the user information which I have passed. As with the put the breakpoint, that's the reason you will not be able to see that. Now I'll try to complete this. So now user has been added to the database. Now if you see user successfully added to the database, now to the existing user object I'm trying to add this user information, and finally we are clearing all the fields. Now if you see with this, your UI also going to show the output immediately. If you see that we got the Kumar K information along with the email details whatever has been entered. Simple. So now if you see your network tab, you should have been completed. Yeah, you would have got this. Okay, yes, this is the post request and the response is successful. We got the 200 okay as the response. Okay, this is what we have done. So let me quickly recap what we have done. So we created the form field to capture all the information and have a submit method. On change event, we are capturing the updating the individual state variable value. On submit, we are capturing the complete user information, posting the data to the server, and whenever we got a success response, we are updating the existing users list with the new user also over here. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to do some quick changes to make this form look beautiful. So for that, what I'm going to do, so first I'm going to add some styles to this first I'm going to add some styles to this form field with basic classes like there. So let me add that styles first. I'm going to add div class name called as user list container, and I'm going to define that styles in the file. So let's go and try to create one thing called as, I'll try to create a new file called as user list.css. So here what exactly I'm going to do, I'm going to define some styles and I'm going to explain them also. They're very pretty much straightforward and simple. I'm okay, let me go back to our styles. So I have these styles defined here. So here what exactly I have for my user list container, I have some defined some styles which will get the for the container, and again for the head I have some styles. Again for the table fields I have some style, and inside the table for the t header and t table description I have different styles. For all the event rows I have a different styles, and hover, and again whenever I want to add a user form and within that input fields and buttons I have defined different styles. So let me go and try to update my form to reflect those styles. Okay, for the table, for the div I'm trying to define it as a container. For the table I'm going to define the styles for the table, and again for the form field I'm trying to define a style for the form called as add form. So okay, yeah, then I am going to define the styles for the submit button also, all those things. Yeah, I can go and define the styles here. Okay, now if you have defined for the submit button, already has been defined in the user list. So if there is a button inside the class, so here we have defined for the, I have added a class for the add user form, and any buttons input controls which are inside that I have defined those things. Okay, let me go and see my output now. So okay, now one more thing, we need to go and import this users, like this CSS here. How do we are going to import? We have to just say import. If you want to make use of these styles, we have to say import, sorry, import dot user list dot css. I think this should be fine. Okay, let me see this path. Okay, so it is going to, okay, so these styles are a little bit outside. Let me move this to the inside user list. Yeah, this should work now, right? Okay, see, now if you see that with this we are able to get some basic styles coming from our CSS. So I'm going to show you that. Okay, here if it is a user list container, we have got applied some styles. For the table we have applied some styles from our user list.css. For the form field we have applied some styles, and again if you go to our button, we have applied some styles in the button. So we have this complete example in the description field. I have given the GitHub link, so that contains the complete style sheet and all the completed code, so you should be able to refer. Yeah, that's it for our updating the user list form with the add user functionality. Now we have enhanced our form with the add functionality, and we have done styling, even we have verified the application also, and we are going to do how to edit and how to add the delete functionality to our user list component. And at the same time I recommend visit codecrafterscampus.com for more videos and the blogs and online content on React.js. Thank you. If you like, please subscribe to the videos and comment.